You are now listening to Processa Talks.
My name is Anais Gomez, and you are listening to Processa Talks podcast.
Hello, my name is Kiara Cristina Ventura, and you are listening to Processa Talks podcast, where we interview talented Black and Brown artists who are doing their thing in the art world. Today, I am sitting here with Emmanuel Massillon, who I've been knowing for some years now. I believe we met in like 2020, 2021. And I was always drawn to your work because you just have an eye and you have taste for conceptual art in your work. I think you do very quality work.
Thank you.
And you're experimental. And as someone who studied art history, that's what I'm looking for in my art journey is like I'm always thinking about who are artists that are pushing concepts and experimenting and what are the movements that are happening now. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I've known Kiara for a very long time. Well, like 2020, 21 sounds like it's like coming out of COVID, you know. Remember,
It
you
was
come
tough
in, you and
times.
Cam coming to the studio. And I appreciate you. You know, we've done some work together over the years. Think you got amazing curatorial practice.
Thank you.
And a lot of people that that are around our age that do art, like somebody always ask a recommendation or something. Like
Right.
always be like, you one of the people like I think like just do really quality work through like the talks, the curation, all around is just really good. So, I rock with you the long way. Thank you for having me. I don't really do that many talks like that because like I really don't like the art world. But you hit my phone, was like, oh, pull up, I gotta talk. Like I said, all right, cool. So I just came from Baltimore doing a residency there.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, nah.
Because I know you had to hop on the train.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. So let's get into it. I want to start with just how you grew up. I know you're Haitian.
Yeah, I'm
You grew
Haitian.
up in DC.
I grew up in DC.
Tell me a little bit about like that family history and how did your family make that move to DC?
So my great grandma, rest in peace, she died 2023. She actually gave me the name Emmanuel. So my great grandmother and my great grandfather sold their farmland in Haiti and was able to buy a house in DC, which is still in my family till this day, and it's my childhood home. So I grew up on Georgia Avenue, just like in the middle of DC. So just going through the DC public school system, you just see a lot of crazy things, and not a lot of people know, but like at one point, DC was like the murder capital of America, and through the racial elements like drug trade, through like the 80s and 90s, and so growing up, you see kind of like a remnants of those things, and so I think when I started getting into art, it was through going to Wilson, and I went to this high school called Wilson, and it was like an affluent community in DC. My mother pulled some strings, and I was able to go to like a pretty good school outside of my neighborhood. That wasn't my neighborhood school. That really fostered my learning for the arts. And the good thing about being in DC is most of the museums are free, so it's like okay, cool. Like, so I really got into art. This is an artist named Vix Muse, and we watched a video in class in Miss Stryker's photography class, and we watched this video, and he was like arranging these trash works and getting on some scaffolding, but he was arranging the trash to look like people, and he would get on scaffolding and photograph the trash and sell each print for $50,000. So me being from like the inner city of Washington D.C., I'm like, oh man, this like dude is making money off of art and he's not dead, because everybody always tells you like, oh, you can only make a living off of art if like dead. So this was like the first time I ever seen someone on the video like. But he wasn't black. He was like, I forgot what race he is, but he was just selling these prints of this trash. And so that was like one of my first times thinking of like a concept or like, okay, art could make some money. Because if this guy could like sell trash, photographs of trash, I could sell something. And so I raised my hand. I was like, well, yo, Miss Stryker, like, where is this dude at? Like, what's going on? Like, how do I learn more about this art world? And so she was like, oh, you should go downtown, go to this museum, the National Gallery,
What
go
age
to the
was
Hirshhorn.
this?
Bro, 16.
Okay.
So from that day forward, like when I like stepped foot in the museum, it was just like I don't know. I just saw the beautiful, the sculptures, the paintings, and I was just like, wow. I didn't know anything about art. Like I just probably knew like Picasso here and there, whatever.
Right.
But from that day forward, I kind of like made it my journey to like learn about art,
Okay.
and then my dream was to be in museums. So a lot of times growing up in like, the hood, you go to high school, most black men, I want to go play basketball. I want to play football, sports, entertainment. But my dream always, since like I was 16, was to be a museum level artist and travel and show my work around the world. Like, so I would be in Wilson
Wow.
telling my friends, like they in basketball practice, like, I want to go home, I want to go draw.
Did you get called names? Like a weirdo or
No, not really,
anything?
for real, cause
Okay.
the school I went to was really diverse. Like,
Okay.
so you could kind of be yourself there, and people would accept you. You know what I'm saying? And then also too, like I'm 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 around in DC, so it's like I'm outside. Put it at that.
Outside.
So I just know a lot of people from
Mhm.
different walks of life, and so
Okay.
I was able to interact. Like I started with photography, doing shoots. Oh, you want to drop a little mixtape? Let me do your shoot. Drawing
Wait, you
people's
used to
tattoos. Yeah,
photograph
yeah,
people.
photograph people. So that's how I started making money through
Okay.
art, through photography. Had a little camera. I had like a little collective
In
of
high
friends
school.
in high school. Yeah, so
Okay.
I was able to like get like like friends and people to accept me. Like, damn, he just doing him. Like, it was making a little money, going to
Nice. So you used
Buffalo
to charge.
Strange, like buying some clothes, getting fresh. Like just back in the day, those are like the moments I cherish the most.
So you had like that business
I had the business,
mindset.
definitely. I had like I was like the school was paying me to photograph like the homecoming.
Yeah.
Like I was always getting a little bag
Okay.
at art, a little bag.
I love
You know what
that.
I'm saying? So,
Why are you talking? So I was off the L train the other day, off of
hmm
like the cow near where artichoke pizzas
hmm
over there.
yeah.
I was actually waiting for my friend Ro. We were
hmm
gonna go to a party, and then I was sitting on a bench, and then this kid came up to me. He looked so young, like he was from high school. He had like his backpack on,
hmm
and then he came up to me. I was on my phone, and he was like, "You make music?" And then I was like, "Actually, I do." And I don't know. I think being in New York, you just get used to like talking to people. I'm like so
Yeah.
comfortable with like just talking to people. Anyways, but I'm always interested. Like, what's this conversation gonna be? I was like, yeah, I do. And then he like pulled out like a flyer, and then he was just like, well, I make beats, $45. I can make whatever you want. I was like, really? I was like, what kind of music do you really make? Like, what do you specialize in? He was like, I can make anything. I was like, okay. And I was like, let me hear something really quick. And then it was like some trap type beat. I was like, okay, this is fire. And then yeah, I actually invited him here to the studio. But in that moment, I was like, keep hustling, like whatever you're doing, like keep doing it because this is how you do it. And I think I like to see like also young people now like going outside of social media and being like, do
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
like yes, hand out your flyer.
It's really the
Um,
hand to hand.
right.
I'm a big fan on the hand to hand, man. Just the in person, man. Like you can't. I feel like with the internet, is we get away from the hand to hand and the talking to people. That in person, somebody can see what you smell like, your mannerisms. Like it goes a long way.
What you smell like.
Y'all laughing at that? I'm serious. He said,
The
"Ooh, he smells like
personality.
oud oil. Let me give him a deal."
Right. You know what? I might just get a beat off of you,
Yeah,
you
exactly,
know?
exactly.
Okay, so you always had like the hustler type
For sure.
mindset.
And then so let me speed this process up because my origin story is like it's
Okay.
funny.
Okay.
So I started taking art. I started learning about art, and so I'm going to National Gallery. I'm looking at Barnett Newman. I'm looking at like these old paintings. I'm looking at like Franz Klein. I'm looking at artists like Alberto Giacometti. I'm looking at just all these different artworks that captivated me. And then when I'm going to go look at these artists, I'm like, wow, none of these people are black.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started having a new idea. It was like, well, when I go to look for the black artists, they're not there. So when I was starting my studying, this was before like the whole crave of museums rushing to get black artists. You know what I'm saying? And so when museums did start to get black artists, I started to realize like a lot of these artists don't talk about stuff that my black experience. You know what I'm saying? Me being from the inner city,
Right.
you know, I'm experiencing gentrification firsthand. My community turning into a whole nother community right in front of my eyes, especially being in DC, being one of the fastest gentrified cities in all of America. I'm looking at mass incarceration and my friends going to jail in and out. You know, you in class one day, the next day your friend is in jail. Then he comes back a couple weeks later, he's on house arrest. You know, and looking at the limitations that gives you. But then I'm also looking at like just DC being one of the most segregated cities in all of the country. Like I'm looking like, okay, I'm from uptown DC, but why do people from south side of DC don't have the same resources as me? Or why does somebody in Tinleytown and Adams Morgan have better education and access than somebody who lives in Northeast, you know? And so yeah, I think me growing up in DC, it became a big part of myself and my development as a man and as an artist too, because when I wanted to find out what I wanted to make art about, I was like, well, there's nothing I know more than like DC and our inner city culture, and also too having a love for just African history and just like fusing the both of them. And so I think on my journey as an artist, and I said I was studying in the museums, I just didn't see any black artists. When I did find the black artists, they didn't reflect a black experience that I kind of knew, you know what I'm saying? And so I kind of wanted to fill that gap, that void of like, okay, what would, if somebody was young and they were like into hip hop music, or they were like into jazz, or they were in, like, what aesthetic would they like? What stuff do they want to see in a museum? Because I think with art, a lot of people gravitate towards art that they can understand, that gives them a certain feeling, you know, or a certain memory, or something that relates to them, or they're into learning new things. So I think that's when I had my crazy dream at 16 of being a museum artist, I think that was my goal, was to kind of like bring my experience to the world and kind of preserve the history. Because even too, we think about like, just like gentrification and not only property being removed, but also like culture and like think about language, dialect, clothing. Because being from DC, you know, we kind of got like our own style, our own swag. Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to just like get in the museum system. My dream to like, you know, preserve my culture. Yeah.
And look at you now.
Oh yeah, for sure. We do.
Okay. So let's fast forward a bit into your practice. Because I see, from a young age, you dabbled in different forms of art, film, photography. Do you like shoot music videos and stuff, or?
Nah, I never got.
Okay.
The only issue with the music video stuff in DC, people always want to point guns at you in the music video.
While you're.
Yeah, like it's like.
Oh.
And it's like.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
You know, I'm happy about like this art podcast. I don't really do as many of these. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna talk for real, like you know.
Of course,
like
that's why we're here.
But this is real, like you know what I'm saying. That's why I ain't going on that route, you know.
Right.
But I do think I like music videos. I see them even as like a form of video art. Like my friend Allen Golder-Carpenter, he always uses like a lot of like found imagery from music videos and like these like big installations he does in like Berlin. And it always makes me think about like I think like Chief Keef, like being like a pioneer of like the music videos, like not having a budget, just like a bunch of people with their shirt off and jumping around screaming, I don't like I don't know, it's just like a testament to like black resourcefulness. It's just, and then that aesthetic became like the aesthetic for like the next, even till this day, like people are still doing that kind of aesthetic. So I don't know. I should have I might have to do a music video now, you said.
I mean, that could be a video piece.
For sure.
Of you like a music video performance.
Yeah. Okay.
With some money. And some girls. Because we could go through a rabbit hole of hip hop music videos. Yeah. But there's obviously a formula to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the money, the drugs.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of the stuff I talk
Naked
about in
women.
my work. You know,
Yeah.
I even think about the music videos kind of like being like a hypnosis. You know, I think like even something like Trap House 2 by Gucci Man, I think 2013. Like that was like the first album that taught me like if I don't have money as a black man, I truly have no value. So I still listen to that album like almost every week. Still to this day, like it just get me going and hustle, you know. But yeah, I think we got a little off topic, but yeah, we're just going. But yeah, I don't know. I think the hip hop culture too, like and how it influenced my work. Just talking about like kind of like that money, that power, that respect. This grandioso lifestyle, the glorification of like derogatory lifestyles, and how that's like affecting young black men, young black kids, young women. Yeah, it's something I like to explore a lot in my work. You know, I kind of get like criticized a lot for it sometimes, but I do feel like, you know, I've always wanted to be that artist. When I walked in the museum, I wanted to be that artist that I didn't see. You know, so like even like my first museum acquisition is a piece called the Mud Libation. Rest in peace, Fredo Santana. And it was an ode to like one of my favorite rappers, Fredo Santana, who died of a lean and dose coma. So he drank a lot of lean, and it, you know, he had a seizure. He went into a coma and died. And so, you know, the libation is like an ancient African practice of like giving thanks to loved ones, showing honor. So it's kind of like this big cup pouring out like dirt and splashing on the floor.
Didn't that get collected?
Yeah, it's in a permanent collection of Baltimore Museum of Art.
Amazing.
Got that acquisition at 24 years old.
Wow.
The youngest artist in the museum.
Goodness gracious.
So it was crazy that they even, you know, they were kind of open to like getting a work about lean, you know. But I felt like that was something that needed to be talked about because not too many people in the art world, especially black artists, like talk about lean like that and talk about the opioid crisis. Because when you think about the opioid crisis, you might think about like, you know, Caucasian people in the Midwest or, you know, in big pharma, but you don't think about this drug that's glorified through rap, hip hop music, and how people are using it to cope with like being in the inner city, coping with life. Depression. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Okay. I want to think about how you think.
Okay.
So I'm really interested in your practice as an artist, as a conceptual artist. Obviously, you're thinking about how you grew up, growing up in the inner city, what you consumed growing up, whether it was media, who you were around. How do you do you take notes first? How does the concept of the piece come about? Are you like walking and you're like, oh shit, I have an idea? Do you have a vision of the piece first, or does the concept come first? You know what I mean?
It depends, because sometimes I would just think about a piece like through conversations. Like I have a lot of friends I'm close to that are artists, and we'll just be talking about some stuff and something come up. I get a lot of inspiration from memes too. Like I follow like it used to be this page, like it was like DC Hood News. And I used to like follow that page and just see a lot of like just different things on there about DC culture, things that were going on. I also would like listen to a lot of rap music. I listen to a lot of mainstream and underground rap. And I feel like I even talked about this in my artist statement. Like I feel like black music is one of like the greatest preservers of like black history in America or just global, because if you want to know what was going on in black culture any given time, you can just go look at the music and learn about what's going on, you know. So even like in this time period of rap we're in, like it's very flashy, kind of like this transition of like selling drugs to becoming a user. And so different things like that just really like get to me, and like, because I think 50 Cent said this quote, I might be misquoting, but it was like rap music allows you to, it's kind of like the zoo. It lets you get close to the animals without being harmed by them. In a sense, like a lot of people are living like fictitious lifestyles through music. Mm-hmm. And even if you talk about sound and how sound affects like melanated people and affects with I can go really hotep into this, but I just been really interested in like this kind of music and what people are talking about in their music, especially in Black culture, and how it affects us.
So you're thinking of it from like a
It's
psychological
psychological. So I'm listening to a
standpoint.
lot of rap music from
Yeah.
Detroit to Atlanta to Florida to Detroit.
Okay, so when you're listening to the music, is it you just enjoying it of like, oh, this be hard, or are you really like, I'm listening to every
No, I'm
lyric?
listening to like syllables,
Okay.
alliteration, just different literary devices people are using. Even the beat, the style of the beat. Even I've been like thinking about like mumble rap and thinking about it like returning back to like traditional African language where you just like, yeah, it's like,
That's abstraction.
yeah, it's abstraction. Like,
Mhm.
I recently started getting into like reggae dub music and like how reverb and echoes are being used in sounds. And so I just been really into like just different types of Black music adjacent to hip hop, even away from hip hop, like jazz. Even like I think artists like Sam Gilliam like improvisational jazz because when they go to a canvas, it's kind of like they're just like scatting, it's freestyle.
Okay, so
You know.
you don't see a difference between a rapper and a painter.
Oh no, there's a difference.
Okay,
There's a difference. It's
but
similar.
you're like trying to define like the through lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So when I'm
Okay.
back to your point, when I'm thinking, I'm really thinking, I'm approaching my thought process as a sample producer. Because sample producers mostly, you know, they sample different songs, take the drums, might sample something else, and then they bring it all together and make a new track. And so with me, I might even see an artwork I want to redo in my own way. I might see a performance, something I want to make my own and add my own twist to it. Or I might sample something from my life, a conversation, a meme, a rap lyric. And I'm like, okay, how do I form these together to kind of make my own new beat? Because I'm so in love with hip hop and like it as like a genre of it being a fusion of so many different things. I'm like, can I bring that ideology into my own practice? That's why like my I have so much going on in my practice and there's so many aesthetics clashing because of how I feel like how hip hop is, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just so much stuff going on and it comes and makes this beautiful new thing. So even if I'm like carving some wood or I'm using found objects or I'm doing a painting or I'm doing a performance, all of it is sampling from something. Remixing, yes. And so I kind of do that in the sense of like, okay, because people see my artwork as like high level museum stuff. But when they hear, oh, this is just you're inspired by hip hop, I don't see that in the work. That also gives a preconception of like what a hip hop aesthetic is. So I'm like trying to challenge like what a hip hop aesthetic is. Could it be something more on the like carved traditional African Caribbean sculpture? Could it be two prison phones hanging on the wall, like on Duchamp? Could it be a performance? And just going down this experimentation rabbit hole to see like how far I can get, how can I express myself? What history do I want to preserve?
Let's get into your material.
Okay.
I remember when we did the studio visit, I don't know if it was 2020 or 2021, but I remember I saw a lot of wooden sculpture pieces, and I'll never forget that. I believe you said your grandfather taught you how to carve and work with wood.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, my grandfather taught me how to work with wood when I was like really young. And so it's one of those things like working with wood, you got to kind of keep doing it and, working with tools. I kind of cheat though, because I like to use electric tools. I can't sit there all the time, just hitting it all the time. I do sometimes, and then I started like doing my own hand carved and using like found objects and just fusing them all together depending on what I want to do. Uh, but yeah, I think that ties to like my Haitian heritage and like kind of bringing that Caribbean. Because always people always like, well, you kind of have like different practices. You kind of have like this Afrocentric kind of aesthetic, and then you got like these found objects, and then you got these paintings, and then they're all in a room together, and it looks very weird. But like that's just my swag for real. Like so because I think when it comes to material, one of the biggest influences in my practice was Mike Kelly. So I remember there was a show at Harlesden Worth, I think 2018, and and How's It Worth, and Mike Kelly. Oh, it was 2019 or something. But Mike Kelly had a show, How's It Worth, in Chelsea, and I walked in that whole solo show, and I was like, wait, this is the same artist? And everything looked so different. It was conceptual, it was graphic design, it was installation, it was performance stills, and it all was in one room. So I was like, damn, like this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew a lot of times, like a lot of black artists wasn't going down that conceptual route because it's hard to make money. You got to figure out how to monetize it. We'll talk a little bit of that later. But so I said, well, let me go research how these conceptual artists are doing what they're doing. So I just start going down a rabbit hole to Bruce Nauman, David Hammonds, my favorite artist, Terry Atkins. I'm looking at Mike Kelly. I'm just looking at this real avant-garde clashing aesthetics in these rooms. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. Because I feel like the clashing aesthetics, like, itself starts a conversation, without.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't see, like, your work, your different practices within your practice don't look random to me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see a conversation, like your wooden sculptures. There's also a lot of, it's not super clean.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's, like, different pieces and then the screws going through. You can tell, I don't know, I imagine that you move kind of fast in the studio. Do you?
Yeah, sometimes when you do something, because since 2021 I got my studio, I probably for 3 years was in the studio every single day for 12 hours. Like, it was like I was obsessed, like, because I just had like this is my ticket to, like, elevate, it's my dream. So, like, when I came to New York, graduated from School of Visual Arts, I came up in a time where, like, it was like the Black Lives Matter movement, and and just a lot of galleries rushing after young black artists. So, I felt like I had a good shot at the time. So I was like, let me put my all into this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even at that time, it was like the black figuration. Like, everybody was really on that hard. So I'm surprised I made it this far, for real.
And you weren't really making figurative work.
Nah. I'm just making like that piece that was in the show at Next Haven that you curated, drill music. I remember making that in 2020.
Wow. Okay.
Actually, that piece now was going to a show at Funkhaus in Berlin.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's on the way there now.
I'm gonna put a post-it note on that.
We
gotta talk about Europe.
Oh yeah, put it on the wall. Drill music right here. We're gonna edit it in.
we're gonna lead up to that. So tell me more about your material, because I know you have some dog food paintings.
Yeah, I think my material is like stuff I got access to, and stuff that got like cultural significance to me. Like, the dog food is like a cultural, like a slang term, right, for like heroin. And so I thought about dog food and heroin and kind of like the civil rights, because there's like a German Shepherd in the middle of the paintings, and talking about like how these German Shepherds were trained to like eat black people, and black people intrinsically became dog food, like brown skin, and the dogs were like literally chewing at them. And then heroin also being a slang term for dog food, and kind of like playing on words, like, like inspired by hip hop. So like similes and metaphors, and kind of starting a conversation about like how heroin and the civil rights movement impact the black community at the same time. So even I make work out of sunflower seeds, noting to my time growing up in a food desert. I have paintings made out of communion wafers. I have a new series of paintings made out of prison soap.
Wow.
I'm even going into more like text-based works. Like, I feel like as a conceptual artist, you're gonna have some kind of text.
I was thinking about that when you were talking about like hip hop and lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like you also have a keen interest in language.
Yeah, so I think with the text paintings, I'm going to try exploring more about my love for language, but also making it kind of abstract. So I'm like in love with abstraction. I'm really like a big Jack Wooden fan. So yeah. So I think material is very important to me, because as a conceptual artist, like, Silhouette teaches us like the concept is the most important thing, not what it looks like. It's always trying to like have my silhouette. You ever seen that meme with Dexter, and he's like in the locker and he's like, "I failed you." You never seen that before? I'm gonna send it to you. We're gonna put it right. We're gonna put it right here, so y'all can see
it. Dexter.
I'm sorry for whoever got to edit it, but you got to put the Dexter meme right here. So it's like a picture of him. He's crying, and there's like a photo in the locker. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, exactly. So I'm Dexter, and like
Right.
Silhouette is like in the locker, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I failed you. But
Oh my gosh. So you have some forefathers.
no,
in
exactly,
the arts.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the material is very important because I think the average person only stands in front of an artwork for like 6 seconds. So anytime you can get somebody to stand for 7 to 8 to 10 seconds is like, and so I'm able to do that with the material because the material is so offbeat, it's weird, like, and it draws you in. So when you're attracted to the material or you finally see what it is, now you want to know what the work is about because visually it's like, okay, what's going on? I want to know. Like, if you see it kind of like a painting, you kind of know what's going on, especially if it's like figuration or you might see some abstraction. But like when it's some weird materials together,
Right.
and you can kind of make them. That's why I like Terry Atkins so much. I feel like Terry Atkins, he's my favorite artist. So like, he can take materials and make them look fabricated, but it's just stuff he just found. So I think with my art practice, a lot of my found materials, I try to make them like as cohesive like Terry Atkins would, but like in my own way.
Okay. Something I've always also that comes up in conversation, even like when I'm talking about your work with other people or if you get brought up.
Yeah.
People always talk about how young you are.
Oh yeah.
So do you feel like what are some challenges that you face as like a young artist?
Wow. This is a real talk. I like this.
Let's get to it.
This be transparent. Like I'm 27 now, so we're gonna do another talk next year on 28,
Okay.
29,
Right.
30.
Right.
You know
Solar
what I'm saying?
return.
Then we're gonna do return. But I came in the art world like a baby, like 22 years old.
And you were in SVA.
I was in SVA. Like,
in school.
I was
what year was
recruited
this?
to the NBA from college. They said, get on this
Was
plane.
it freshman, sophomore year,
When did I start?
junior?
Okay, so let me. So I was in a weird position because I'm from DC. So anybody you meet from DC
Right.
is gonna tell you we don't wait for nobody to do anything.
Yeah.
So I Googled how to become a famous artist on Google. This is before ChatGPT. And the first thing, you laughing, I'm dead serious. So the first thing that came up was like a list of things to do.
Oh.
Mind you, I know nothing about art, whatever, So I'm like, okay, cool. They like, first thing you gotta do, what you gonna make art about? I said, well, I found what to make art about, like African history, DC inner city life, etc. Put them together. It's a second, make a website. That website done got me through. I still got the same website to this day. My mentor Tracy, shout out Tracy if you looking. He paid for my Squarespace when I first got it, and I still got the same thing. So he believed in me. I think I had like 5 artworks, and he paid for my website for a little bit.
I love that.
And then it was like go to a credible art school, and the art school will teach you how to think and da. So I was able, I had my mom. She did the Parent Plus loan. I was able to go to school, and then after my first year of college, I took a break, and then I got a big scholarship to go to School of Visual Arts, and I was able to really hone my skills, yeah. And so when I was in school, something called COVID happened. And that 2019, 2020 was like one of the life-changing years of my life. And everybody was stuck on a house and everybody was on Instagram. So I started getting a buzz from writing Instagram captions, which is actually pretty crazy.
Because you're a writer.
Yeah, for sure.
I be reading those captions because I'm like, I need
And I want to let y'all know, I was writing the captions before AI. Because people now be like, did you use AI? I say, bro, go check my paperwork. I've been writing like this before. So I think coming with COVID and everybody being on their phone, I had a bright idea. I saw Damien Hirst. This is where I got my idea from. Yeah. Damien Hirst, one of my favorite conceptual artists. That might be a controversial statement, but I love him. He was writing these long captions talking about his formaldehyde shark works, his butterfly works, and it was him typing these captions, explaining why he did it, what he did it for, and I was always captivated by them captions. So when I started to grow as a conceptual artist and make my own crazy works, I'm gonna do this. I said I'm gonna do the same thing because I saw how it made me feel hearing or seeing the artists write about their own work and why they did it. So that's why I did it. And so through COVID, everybody on Instagram engagement was up 1,010%. So I rented a camera from school. My best friend at the time, she had a camera and I like stole the camera from her. From she rented from school,
Oh.
and I was like, all right, let me hold this junk, and I would just photograph on my mom's garage drill music. Like even when you reached me out, that original photo, that was in my mother's garage, and it ended up next to David Hammond somehow, and I was going to Germany. So I was just always being resourceful, like taking what I could, doing that, and so I was able to create this buzz off Instagram just organically by just making my artwork, sharing it, and I started to get like a little buzz, and people started to get interested. So I really had collectors lined up before I had like actual galleries. The galleries came from the collectors, and the collectors came from my Instagram.
Right.
And so I was doing that at like 21, 22. And then eventually I made enough buzz where I started to turn that actual buzz into like real world traction. So I think I met you at that time when I was coming up, you know. I met a lot of gallerists that were really pivotal, helping me build my brand, getting me access to certain things. But I never, still to this day, I never still let that Instagram go. I'm still hand to hand, like direct. So coming in the art world, back to my point, I drifted off a little bit, but coming back to the point of me being so young, I came in the art world 22, 23. And so I'm from Washington, D.C., so I'm not art adjacent. I mean, I have one of my mentors, Dr. Daryl Atwell. He was very pivotal in like helping me like find out how to shape my practice and introducing me to people. But you know, he only one dude. So I'm in New York. I'm trying to find my way. And so I had it was a gallery, Swivel Gallery. And I had like my first solo show there. And like, and even how I got that was through Tara Faye. She was an independent curator. And we were talking on Instagram. Mind you, I just met her on Instagram. We were talking. And, you know, we were just sending each other stuff back and forth. Mind you, I never met her. And she called me one day and was like, yo, like, Massey, you want to do this show at this emerging gallery? Da, da, da. And I was working with I had some galleries on the horizon already. But I was like, okay, cool. Like, let me just try it out. So, like, that first show, it was called As Clear as Mud. And that's probably one of my favorite.
And the mud piece was
and the mud libation piece. It went to the Baltimore Museum. It went there. So I was able to like start my buzz even on a serious note, which was, you know, through that program, you know. And then afterwards, I remember standing outside in the rain, was like, well, I don't have nothing else coming up next. Like, and the very next week, my gallery in Paris, which I still work to today, one of the galleries was a collector. And they reached out to the gallery and was like, hey, I like this guy's work. Can I buy something? And the gallery was like, all of it is sold out. So now he's like, oh, shit, like, I got a gallery in Paris. So mind you, I've never left the country. I'm 23 years old. I don't even know how to properly eat at a restaurant or nothing. Like, I'm not like as bougie as I am now, like ordering wine by the date and region and stuff like that. Like, I was good with like some Rock Creek soda and a Cosmic brownie. But yeah, so I think when I first got that first call, and even through COVID, like the artists, they were like, okay, come do the project space. So it was Paris. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And so the artists who they were supposed to give the full space to, the bigger space to, they caught COVID. And the gallery was like, oh, we have 1 month to fill this space. And I don't know what. Shout out Matthew. I know I'm gonna send this to Matthew. He's gonna watch this. Matthew's like, Emmanuel, we have an emergency and the artist has COVID and we have the room, but we have no one to fill the room. I said, sign me up. Cause just being from DC, it's like you see an opportunity, you gotta seize it. Like
you gotta jump on it.
You know, I'm still working like I'm on zero.
Wait, okay, so with that show, like how did people in Paris react to your work?
Oh my God, that show changed my whole life, respectively. Cause it was one thing the show was like. Because Swivel Gallery at the time was like a smaller gallery. So people was like, okay, that's cool. You sold your work at this level. But now when you go to an international level and make the work I make, people were really, really into the themes of my work. And the show did very well sales-wise. So it was the first time it's like, wow, I could make stuff I really want to make and go out and sell it. And it was easy, you know? And I was lucky because I found a gallery when I was very young that put money into me and supported me.
Okay.
And they were one of the only galleries where I told them like, hey, I want to be in museums. I want to do this. That's crazy to say at 23 because it's hard to get into a museum at 23 when you're first showing. And then the following year, the Mud Libation got to the Baltimore Museum of Art. So it was like my first proof of concept. Like, okay, this work could be monetized. It could be shown in institutions, etc. But another thing about I keep going on and on, but I think another thing about being young too is like coming into our game is like knowing who to trust. Like I've had a lot of dealers, agents, people who said they were my friends because I got a buzz, I make cool art. If you're adjacent to me, like it makes your program look very good. But behind the scenes, when things got tough or money got involved or certain things got involved, it would start to get shaky. And
Yeah.
so I think the art world at that time, or even now too, is like very predatory towards like young artists. And I think when I fought
Especially
back,
young artists of color.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think I always do business, and I always knew where I wanted to go, and I did real research. So when a gallery would tell me some things, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, and I was always keen, even being young, on building my own relationships because from my environment, building your relationships and who you cool with meant you can go certain places, or you good, or you're not gonna get messed with because you have a relationship with this person, or if I want to do some business with somebody, I got this relationship, so I don't need to go through the front door. I'm gonna go through the back door.
Yeah.
So, so even from a young age, I'm like, okay, I don't need my gallerists talking to my collectors. I need to know my collectors. I need their emails. I want to be invited to the parties. I want to have relationships. Um, and so I think early on, a lot of people who I worked with, they didn't want me talking to they wanted to be the middleman and have the connections, and not have me have the connections. They were scared that I was gonna bypass them, which I really never did. Really, like I've always played nice with all my dealers and say, okay, this is for you, this is for me, etc.
Right.
But when your artwork is selling, as my artwork does, it's like people start to get really greedy, and yes,
They want to cut.
They want to cut, and they start to overstep boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you can't show with nobody else. You have to only show with me. Da da da. And it's like, and I know a lot of young artists that have gotten positions like that, where they were only showing with certain people because they were like trapped. And even in a climate like now where galleries are closing, like a lot of people aren't thinking when these galleries close, those connections go with them too.
Yeah.
And so now a lot of artists are now stuck because the gallery was the person that had all the connections. The gallery was the person that had all the emails and the institutional connections. And you never develop any of them on your own. So now when the gallery closes and dies, you kind of are dying with it.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's the part about being young is like knowing who to trust, finding people who can fight on your behalf, and knowing how to be smart, like generating revenue. Because even when I was young, I was able to pay $2,000 a month in studio rent at 24,
Right.
23. You know what I'm saying? I'm making enough money where I can go live in London for 3 months, and so that gave me a lot of insight on building connections and building my brand. But even then, it's like you taking the risk on yourself because you can spend all this money traveling, trying to meet people, and it might not work out. So it's all about risk. But yeah, I think those were the hardest things coming through the art world very young. It's like knowing who to trust. And when people tell you no, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Because if somebody tells me no, I'm just gonna find somebody else who's gonna tell me yes.
Right.
So.
And not to get too in your feelings too. I've learned that too.
Oh yeah, you always gonna be your feelings. The times I done cried, I done screamed, I'm like, F this person died, like
Right.
because a lot of people are like, people want stardom in our world, and people want to be lights, camera, actions. They want to be on Forbes. They want to be on these magazines, and as an artist, you want to get notarized for your work, and the fancy dinners and all that. So I done seen so many people switch up. I ain't talking Nintendo when I said they done switch.
I've seen too many people go Hollywood.
I really Hollywood.
They'll be like, "Who are you again?"
Who are you?
We was hanging out. Like
exactly. Like we was just at he was at the Art Noir dinner. You remember me? Shout out, Lay.
Or they'll say like hi in passing. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like but it's real. So like, I think those are just like the hardest parts of it, man. Just like Also too, I know I got to do something I want to talk about. Yeah, just like even like being a young artist is like also managing finances, and like, okay, like you have to do a show. How much money does it cost? And a lot of people don't talk about this, but like playing keep up as an artist and investing in yourself, because studio rent in New York is not cheap.
Right.
It's very expensive. And so the amount of money you're dumping into like playing keep up, geography plays a big role into art. Like living in New York, traveling. Like we talked about going to Art Basel. Like you
Right.
spending no less than $1,000, 1,500 in Art Basel in Miami,
Yep.
you know, and it's a lot because you feel like, okay, do I need to be there to network? Do I miss out? Like I did not pay my studio rent or my house rent sometimes just to go places to get a new connect. So it's like
Okay.
these different sacrifices, and I don't think a lot of times collectors or galleries really think about young artists and artists in general, like the sacrifices we're actually taking with our families making art or traveling or trying to maintain our art practice is very difficult.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an investment. It's a personal investment, but also something I think about even for myself is kind of like if I'm outside too much, where is the time to like actually meditate on the things that I want to
No,
do?
and exactly. I think it's about balance too and fine. I think the best artists kind of have like a balance of like not being.
Mm,
Cause my mom always told me like she had a friend that made beats. He was like, man, my friend could make some beats, but he was always in the basement.
yeah.
So nobody ever heard his beats. So if nobody ever hears your art or sees your art and you're not outside marketing it, you know, you just be another good artist that nobody knows about. You know,
Mm,
yeah.
okay. So let's fast forward to more recent work.
Okay.
So I know you did a piece
Yeah.
in London
Yeah.
in a gallery,
Yeah.
and it was a collaboration between you and Allen Golder-Carpenter,
Yes.
where you both basically replicated a prison cell
Yeah.
in a gallery. So tell me, I want to like enter this conversation with from a place of curiosity because I definitely was one of those people that were like, oh, when I saw it on Instagram, I was like, okay.
IG.
Half of my brain, this is my first reaction. Half of my brain was like, oh, this is experimental. And the art historian in me was like, yeah. The other half was maybe a little bit triggered or a little emotional because mass incarceration is something that affects a lot of Black and Brown communities. It affects me immediately and my family. So I was like, you know, what does it mean to bring this personal experience into a commercial space like a gallery? Um, so I had a lot of questions because I was like, okay, like I want to know the context.
And I have answers.
Let's get into it. And also, I can't lie, I went straight to that comment section, and the comment section was hot.
Oh no, definitely. I was telling my mentor when it was going on, I was like, ah, well, bro, they in the comment section. He said, that's crazy because like he said, you're a conceptual artist, that's what you want. You want people to have conversations, even if they agree with it or not, you know. And I think that's the beautiful thing about I love conceptual art because it begins with a concept, conceptual concept. So like it's the idea. And so why did I do something? Why did I do it? Who is it for, etc. So you know the project was called Cell 72, the Cost of Confinement, where I had an idea. It's like, well, I like Joseph Boy's artwork, and the coyote piece he did, where he locked himself in a room with 3 days with a coyote.
An actual
Actually
coyote.
actual
Okay.
coyote. So I'm telling you, like when I'm sampling, like I really think like I'm like Kanye West or Mike Will made it. Like I'm really sampling. I'm really sampling. So I'm like, okay, I like the Joseph Boyce performance, and even going to Joseph Boyce performance and seeing like, okay, his family had like Nazi lineage, and he moved here to America, and he had like this conviction as a white man, learning about like the Trails and Tears and the horrors that white people committed on Native Americans, and so he decided to face this confliction with locking himself in a room with a coyote, you know, and the coyote being a representation of like Native American history, Native American spiritualism, because the coyote is like an animal that's very spiritual to the Native American people. So he locked himself in a room where the coyote was like attacking him for hours and hours, and eventually towards the end of the performance, like that coyote and him kind of like became to like a understanding. And so I thought about that work conceptually. It always sat with me, and I always loved that performance. And so my boy Johnny Tanner, who owns Harlesden High Street Gallery, shout out Johnny. Uh, I did a residency with PMAM in London. It was a gallery I was working with. So I was like living in London for some months, and my gallery my gallerist brought for a studio visit this Kenyan guy who's like really offbeat, and he came to my studio in London. And he was like, "Yo, I really love your work, and you got these works of these two decommissioned prison phones, and I really like the work because I've been incarcerated and people in my community." And so we start working out and talking, and so I was supposed to do like a couple installations with him, but it didn't go well through like gallery politics and stuff like that. But eventually, I called him one day. I was like, "Bro, like," I FaceTime audioed him. I said, "Yo, bro, like we got to do that project or something. Like I got this idea, and you the only person I feel like I could do it to because you're a person of color. You're from Kenyan descent. And also your gallery is in Harlesden, which is like one of the last places in London to like refuse gentrification. So it's like very Caribbean, very people of color. Like you really gonna see any white people around in Harlesden. So I felt like it was the
So
perfect
it was in a
place.
black community.
It's a black community. Yes.
It was in a black gallery, black-owned gallery.
Yes.
In a black community.
Yes.
I did not get that online.
Yeah. So a lot of people didn't know that.
And
actually.
I think everyone else did. Like,
Yeah,
thought
no, a
like,
lot of
oh, this isn't a white-owned gallery.
Exactly.
Why are you doing this performance in a space like that? Okay.
So a lot of people didn't understand, and I'm not. And if you know about me, like I'm not the kind of person that like flex, like, oh, we're doing it in a black-owned space. We're doing it in a black community. This is why we're, no, I'm just doing the project because like I thought about it in my head, but I never thought about advertising it as that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if people actually read the article, like me and Allen was in the Guardian, like, because people always look, like we talk about people always looking at clickbait.
People don't read.
Yeah, people don't read. Like they always say, if you want to hide something, if you want to hide something from somebody, like put it in a book. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I could have $1 million lottery ticket and like a bell hooks book. They would not pick it up. But no. So it's like yeah. So I was very conscious of where me and Allen showed the artwork because obviously I don't want this kind of, because I have my inspiration from the art relation to the artwork too is like I have very close family members who are incarcerated, and I've had. Since I was young, I've had my house raided, German shepherds in my face when I was sleeping. I've had friends be detained in front of me. I've even been detained. And so I've seen firsthand growing up in Washington, D.C., how the prison industrial complex affects not only black people as a whole, but black males in general, me being a black male, identifying as a black male. And so I thought, back to like the point about rap music and videos and stuff like that, a lot of our culture actually glorifies going to prison. Like I remember going to like being at Wilson at school and somebody getting locked up and coming back with an ankle monitor. They would roll their pants up to show everybody like, like Sam know what I'm talking about. Like they would roll their pants up and like, look, like I'm on the box, I'm cool.
And did they get respect because of that?
Oh yeah, you get mad respect. Like people look, oh yeah, he tough. Like, oh, he went to the sea. Oh, he tough. Like, cool. Like when you're court day, bro, like, so you start to become like a status symbol, and like it started to become reinforced within music. You know what I'm saying? And so like, oh, you went to jail, you tough, you hard body, da. So I kind of wanted to display like a reality of prison that a lot of people wouldn't see. So the gallery is like an actual storefront. So you'll walk in front of the gallery and see Allen in the gallery, like eating ramen noodles. He's peeing into glass. He's peeing into plastic bottles. Like it's a little bigger than a prison cell because obviously I can't recreate. So it's like it's not an actual reenactment, but it's like a like it's supposed to allude to a prison cell. Like yeah.
Wow.
And
how did that conversation come about between you and Allen?
Oh, me and Allen, I talked to Allen.
Did you guys were y'all like sitting on this idea for a while and you were like,
huh?
Come. Bring a little stool.
Not Allen. Allen in the interview. They got him in the interview.
I already envisioned this. I can't lie.
Oh my God.
I was like, let's Here we go.
Yeah, so I was sitting in a stool very similar to this at work at my job, working artist. Um, and then I get a FaceTime call from Emmanuel. He was like, he was like, yo, can I put you in a jail cell for like 24 hours? I was like, sure. And then I was like, okay. And he called me again. He was like, yo, I think we're gonna have to make it 3 days. And I was like, okay, fine. And he called me again. He's like, you could do a week. I was like, nah, I drew the line.
But why 3 days?
Because of Joseph Boyd's performance was for 3 days.
Yeah, his was 72 hours. So I was like, if we only did one day, if I'm gonna sample it, I'm gonna sample it correct.
Exactly.
The BPM gonna match 100%. So like, that's what my producers. The BPM gonna match. So I was like, okay, like it gotta be 3 days because that's what I'm sampling, And Allen was the only person I could think that actually would, because Allen work is as crazy, probably more crazy than mine.
Y'all have your practices are very much in conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So, and we always wanted to do like a project like together. You know what I'm saying? Because he's born in DC too as well, so he understands a lot of the themes in my work, and in his own work too. He talks about it. So I was like, okay, this is the perfect person I actually would get to come do this project. You know what I'm saying?
My question to you was, how was that experience being in this prison cell, quote unquote, for 3 days?
I just want to preface this by saying, nobody else could have asked me to do it that I would have said yes to than Emmanuel. But I mean, since I was like sitting in a storefront and in a glass storefront, you just see in, and then due to the way that like the sound works, like I could hear everything that people were saying outside, but from the noise on the street, you couldn't hear what I was saying. And, so it was like a truly like one-way experience. It was just like I was like literally like forced silence. Like, I had to, if I wanted to interact with anyone and communicate, I had to like be creative about how I did, like writing notes and pressing them in the window, hand gestures, and it also is like, I mean, to kind of go with like the commodification and like glorification of like of incarceration that Emmanuel was talking about. It was like I felt like a product living in a vitrine for like 3 days, and like people would come in and gawking at me and saying things that they assume I couldn't hear. They were talking about me like I wasn't there, And it's like, and in that way, like the as close as I was to people, I felt so separated from them. And then in that way, I feel like in of course a very like reduced way, it like replicated like the very real like separation that and isolation that people that are incarcerated feel from society. Except we like close that gap, but there's still like a very like one way thing to it, And at the same time, like prisons is a private business. The people in prison are products themselves that are apprehended to produce labor and produce products themselves, and they are products. And then I was witnessed for 3 days as if I was a product,
So you both wanted to have that conversation around consumerism. Okay.
Yeah, and I also think too. I think because Alan was in there, and I was like standing out in the rain, like trying to keep him company and all that. But I think one of the most profound things about the performance, when you have these ideas of conceptual artists and especially like performance, especially live performance, and this being like an endurance performance, I think the most impactful thing I think I saw like conceptually was like you would see some people stop and see Alan for 5 minutes, and they would go past their life, and then there would be some people that would just walk past the storefront like he was never there. They just walk past, and so it was kind of like a testament to real life, like life goes on when people are incarcerated. Time goes on, but Alan still was like the same person, but everything about life was going on, like. Because even like my incarcerated loved ones, like you kind of time changes. Like last time I seen some of my loved ones who are incarcerated, like I'm tall, I'm way taller. My voice, bro, your voice got deep. Like but everything mostly for them is like stagnant and life goes on. So I think that was one of the most powerful things about the performance. And also too, like the commentary, like you said, the comment section, and people were feeling angry, or they were like saying this is something we need. I feel like with a lot of times we talked about this, and with art, a lot of people use art as escape of like fantasy or like joy. And I think I'll have those things too, and maybe I'll start making some more happier artwork as I get older. But I feel like at this time, like I am very interested in like talking about things like some people shy away from, and kind of shining light on conversations that really aren't had, or bringing an unorthodox way. I think the powerful thing about performance is one of the only art forms where you could use all five of your senses. So you can smell, you potentially could taste, you can hear, you can feel, you can see. So I think even walking into me and Allen's installation after he was released, and you could smell the smells of like it was a different level of art and experience. And so the artwork wasn't meant to like glorify prison or profit, because we even donated money to an organization, 15% from the sales of the work to an organization. Um, but it was a sense of the raise awareness, because it being in like the inner city, I really had kids when I was on the street was like, yo, I don't want to go to prison because it looked like this. Because now even people got phones in prison now. They like Benihana's hibachi. People got like PlayStations and stuff like. And so even on social media, you would see people with these prison and cell phones like glorifying prison. People are like, oh, prison isn't that bad. But I think with like this artwork, it showed a lot of people like, I'm bringing something that a lot of people don't talk about, or trying to turn it back to, in the forefront, and saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is not an actual reenactment, but if you think this is bad, think about real prison. Or even to one of the discrepancies I had with like people commenting. I like when people like say I don't like it or whatever. But I think one thing I did have kind of a problem with was like people seem more mad about the actual performance than the actual system itself. It was like, okay, cool. We're upset that you're putting a black man in a mock prison cell, and that's slanderous or it's bad. But it's like, well, do you guys have the same energy for the whole system at whole? Like, what do you do to help these people in these systems? I know people who make work about marginalized communities, and they never be in these communities. You be in the Hamptons, you be in Art Basel, you be in these art fairs, and the people you make artwork about, or and you profit off of, I don't really never see you in the community. So, and I could say like I've brought land art to the hood. You know what I'm saying? Working with UTA, doing a land art installation. I brought this project, which is considered like some museum level art, to the hood, and brought conversations and got people involved, and donated money. So I challenge all artists too. Like, if you make an artwork about marginalized community, even your own stuff, like try to give back. You know what I'm saying? Even if it isn't like, okay, I know everybody goal is to like eventually sign a Gagosian and have the house upstate, but like, what about in between? I like upstate New York, no shade. No, I feel like that's like the rich artist thing. Like, yo, I'm about to go copy this foreign, go upstate.
We gotta be in nature too.
I know exactly.
We deserve. Okay, so I mean, how did you feel about? Because there was a lot of other peers, fellow Black artists who were in the comments, saying, "Yo, this is not it. Nah, I'm not feeling this." What would you say to them, or did you have like, one-on-one conversation with them? Like, how did you?
You know what's
navigate
crazy?
that?
Everybody who commented on that, like, they had my personal phone number, or they could have like DM me. I feel like a lot of it was like, especially when I know you, it's like, bro, like, you could have DM me or text me and had to have it on the internet like that. It kind of felt like a little bit, even though people are entitled to their opinions, but these are people I actually know, and they were like, nah, this ain't it. And they were conceptual artists. And then some of them actually make similar work in point of subject matter. So, Bible say, he without sin cast the first stone. And I'm like, well, TD Jakes. But I'm like, okay, you guys are attacking me, but you guys make similar work. I just brought it to the performance aspect, which is a little more intense. You see what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's why I love conceptual art in general, like in particular, is like because it makes you think. If you feel rage, tell me why you feel rage. Let's have a conversation. That's what the art is about. So I think my peers kind of being like, okay, bro, this not it. It's like, I mean, what can I say? That's their opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion. Even if I felt like, oh, people could have came and talked to me, could have DM me, whatever. Because I've had people that didn't want to be on the comment section, and they DM me, and we had like actual discourse. And I've had people who saw the performance, no, who heard the performance and actually came and didn't like it, but saw the performance. It was like, okay, now that I'm actually here, this is actually pretty crazy. And then also learning like, okay, this is a person of color that owns this gallery. The community is people of color. Because like you said, when you hear London and you hear gallery, you're like, oh, it's white people. I didn't even think one of the main comments were like, you guys are performing with white people in London. And it's like, no, Google Harlesden High Street, and look how many black artists they have brought to the forefront in Europe. So that's why it was very intentional. So I think anytime you can get people talking about your artwork, even people outside, because we got a major article in the Guardian, which was brought to my attention. That's like the New York Times of London. I didn't even know that. Like it was like the Guardian. So a lot of people saw it in the Guardian and came, and they wanted to see it, and people were writing about it. It was just can't. Yeah, it was a really good performance. But I'm all for people like having discourse around the artwork, and it being my peers too. It's just like, okay, like my job as a conceptual artist is the challenge, and so by me challenging and raising awareness and creating conversations, I hope these conversations lead to change. Like we can like go from talking, because even I challenged the people who criticized us. I was like, look, like I'm putting money down. How about you do that too? Like I said, like I'm not seeing y'all really do nothing in the community. Like it's really for the art world. Like I'm in the art world, like one foot in, one foot out. Like how even I was talking to my mentor the other day, was like, well, how can we really bring this to the community? Like, because where we from, Allen, like you never hear nobody ever getting lit off of art. So like we need to let people see this. Like you could be a creative and express yourself and do well, and you don't have to do derogatory things to like obtain money and wealth. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have one more question for you,
Mhm.
because you also make work, and you've had a lot of shows in Europe. This is another question for you too,
I bet.
because for me it's very fascinating when I see black and brown artists showing in Europe, and I see that they get so much more traction and support in Europe than they do in the US. Why is that so? And like, what is your experience working with European galleries?
Well, so the thing is, it's like the phenomenon that I have observed is that seeing like black artists go to Europe and be able to have like a whole different level of support is because black people have historically always been on the forefront of the avant-garde, and and Europe has like much deeper like generational, like kind of generationally inclined support for the arts embedded into their culture. There's like museums there that are older than America. But also at the same time, people love talking about other people's problems. Like they love to like import black artists to talk about American issues when there's like African migrants who that they look down upon and won't work with and won't show their own work in their countries. They don't want to, there's a whole situations going on with like racism against like Northern Africans in Paris, and then but they bring African Americans from America to talk about their problems, but they won't even take out their own trash. They watching people take they watching to make sure people across the street taking out their trash and calling the homeowners association, but they not even taking their own shit out. And I remember reading this thing about like some about how like the white man can't stand the concept of like having like unpaid debt, where it's like there was this, it was like in the 50s or something, there was this black dude did like this experiment where it's like he started like dressing like he was from Africa and started having an accent, and like, you know, and then all of a sudden like he was like some African aristocrat when he was just like a regular black person from America, and all of a sudden like white people started treating him better, treating him different, you know, because they didn't associate him with like the baggage that came with like America, you know what I'm saying? And like they don't have like a negative reaction that's like tied up in like all this like kind of unpaid like generational baggage. But uh, but honestly, like I mean, my experience working with like European galleries is that like I mean, so much of like especially working with places in like Germany and Austria and Belgium. These are like semi-socialist countries that have like much stronger rent controls and laws put in place to like protect cost of living. You know, so galleries are able to like, and then the structures around funding for the arts and just being much more deeper and robust. So like people just and people have a deeper appreciation for the arts and are willing to collect more difficult things. So it's like there's just a lot more money to play with and a lot more room to play with. You know, like you take a gallery in Vienna and take it to New York, it'd be like half the size, you know, and be showing like half as critical kind of work because they have the room and the resources to be able to, and the support to be able to like do these kind of things. You know, like I just did a show with a gallery in Antwerp, and it's like a truly like unique model where it's like they receive government funding, but they also are able to have private commercial sales.
So it's a commercial gallery that's
State funded.
state funded. So
Yeah,
they don't have
look
to
at
pay
your face.
rent.
You like, what is this?
Wait, they don't have to pay rent?
I don't know exactly what their situation is, but it's just like they
No,
get.
some of them not paying rent, bro.
Yeah,
some
they-
of them,
they-
like some people's galleries are funded by the government. So imagine you're in America, and your whole gallery space is funded by the government, and you're still allowed to make private sales, and you're able to pay for the artist's flight, room and board, dinners, and give them a stipend even if they don't sell no work. And the gallery has extra money, so they could buy work from you. It sounds like me and Allen.
Sounds made up.
It sounds made up. It don't sound.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Emmanuel for coming through in person for this special talk in our studio. Thank you, Allen, for joining us right on the spot. And special thank you to our live audience who saw this talk in person. Your presence means the world. If you would like us to continue in doing this work, please consider supporting us by hitting the donate tab on the Processa.art website. Give us a follow, like, comment, and subscribe.
And I'm wishing everyone the best. Have a beautiful day, week, season, all the beautiful things.